I don't know what you guys did to draw such a lucky card, but man, have you. This chapter is easy. Super easy. It's too easy, if you ask me. Maybe not if you ask you, but if you ask me, I think so. We're just doing area, okay, area and volume, and we're still in area right now. Which remember, whenever you figure the area on any shape, it's going to be in units, whether that's centimeters, meters, feet, inches, etc. Squared. Always squared. Okay, that's just a reminder. Guys, look at what I have on the board in front of me. Is this not ridiculous? 2 questions. 2 questions is all this math lesson is. And it's not even going to take very long. That's the sad part about all of it. Well, yesterday when we started off the chapter, we looked at the areas of parallelograms. We talked about squares, we talked about rectangles, about quadrilaterals. Well, we're going to be talking about the areas of triangles and trapezoids today. You probably already know what these are, but just in case you do not, or just you've lost familiarity possibly with those, well, you know what a triangle looks. Okay, that's pretty easy. A shape with 3 sides. Well, a trapezoid is going to have 4 sides to it. A trapezoid will have 4 sides, but it's not a parallelogram or a well, I guess it would be a quadrilateral having 4 sides. It's not a parallelogram though, in that it has 2 different sets of sides that are parallel, but it just has 2 sides that are parallel. For instance, notice the slant of this side inward, but the slant of that side is outward. And if it were a parallelogram, that inward slant would also be an inward slant over here. Those are the ones we discussed yesterday. So it has 2 sides, a trapezoid, that are parallel to one another, and just that one set of 2. Here's another example, a shape of a trapezoid. You have a side leaning in, and then you have that side on the other side of it that's straight up and down. You can have that with a trapezoid as well. All that matters is that you have 2 sides, which are going to be called bases, maybe better bases, but bases that are parallel to one another. Okay, but that'll be for here in a little bit, but I did want to introduce both of those now. So, let's discuss triangles. We know the shape of a triangle, and it can look, some different, or have some difference in comparison to other triangles, but there's still going to be 3 sides no matter what you do. Please forgive me, because I'll be the first to tell you, and I have before, I'm a terrible, awful drawer. I need Ken here to help me draw some of this stuff for me. I'm not very good at Caden, by the way. Caden's an excellent drawer too. But I'm not very good, so please bear with me on that. I just don't have that talent. So I guess I could have written these a lot bigger than what I did. I apologize. I hope you can still see, but I'll state whatever it is in case it doesn't show up extremely clearly. I'm just not used to having so much space on the board. But what we're doing for number 1 is to find the area of the shape of a triangle means triangle. Go figure. Find the area of triangle, the 3 sides, x, y, and z. Okay, x, y, and z. And I don't have those labeled, but I'll go ahead and do that now. And we'll call this part x, this part y, and this part z. Okay? So find the area of the triangle x, y, z. Okay, we can do that. Guys, the area, make sure you write these down in your notes. 2 important area formulas, and keep these rolling. Don't leave any of these off, or you will not know unless you look in your book, and that's okay on your homework, but you can't look in your book on your test. And I want you to be able to use these and readily accessibly on your homework and on your test, and all from the same spot. It's to your benefit to do it. So don't just sit there like a knot on a log, although you're pretty and cute little knots. Don't do that, okay? Get out your pens and or preferably pencils and take notes on these. So this is an important formula for a triangle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 times b, which is your base, or on which it rests, times h, which is your height. Not height, but height. Okay, so our formula is A equals 1/2 times B times H. ledge. Again, I hope it comes through clearly. In case it does not, the base or the ledge on which this triangle is resting is this side, YZ, okay, that is measured as 24 centimeters. And so if I'm trying to find the area of this triangle, all I'm going to do is keep my A for area, because I don't know that, I'm trying to find it, equals what my constant always is. Every time I do the area of a triangle, 1/2 times B, which is the number 24, so in parentheses, I'm going to plug that in, okay, but also times H, which is its height. And typically, not always, but typically you'll see height as a dashed line and over, okay, because it shows you from that point to that point. The tallest spot is, and that is 27 centimeters, okay? So 1/2 times B, your base, the ledge on which it's resting, the side on which it's resting, which is 24, times 27, which is your height. So, we can do at least part of this in our heads. What is 1/2 times 24? An easy way to do that is just to say 24 divided by 2. What's 24 divided by 2? That's 12. Okay, and then we still have the number 27. And so what I'm going to do now is come over by where you are, and I am going to punch in my calculator. 12 times, remember you can use your calculators in this chapter, I'm letting you, so we're going to have some pretty sizable numbers. So our number for our area is 324. A equals 324. But 324 what? 324 gauges? I hope not. We only have one of those, and we can't handle any more, can we, bud? Just one gauge, so, but we can handle 324, what are we working with here? Centimeters, okay. But remember, even though these measurements, those sides are just centimeters, I just found the area, or all of that inside, which is measured in all these individual squares. So whenever you find an area in any unit, no matter what that unit is, it's always units squared. So it's 300, area equals 324 centimeters squared. We're halfway done, guys. Easy math lesson today. Number 2, find the area of this trapezoid. Okay. Now the way I do that, look at my formula up here. Write this one down if you haven't already. The formula for a trapezoid, which means there's a 4-sided shape that has 2 sides, only 2 that are parallel to one another. Those are recognized as the 2 bases. Okay? And our formula for the area of a trapezoid is 1/2. Open parentheses. This is different than a triangle. B1, now not like b to the first power, and not b to the second power, but just meaning one base and then another base. Okay, it doesn't mean like what exponents mean. These are not superscripts, these are sub or below scripts. So A equals 1/2, open parentheses B1 plus B subscript, not super, not exponent, B2, close parentheses, then outside that parentheses times H. So all we're going to do is just plug in our numbers. We're trying to find the area, so we're going to maintain A. We don't know that. A equals, we always keep our constant of 1/2 in the formula. Open parentheses. Now it doesn't matter in what order you put these. What's one of my bases, or bases? I have one that's 13 centimeters, one that's 18 centimeters. So, I mean, pick your poison, it makes no difference. Let's do the 13 first. We could have done the 18 first. But 13 plus 18, in parentheses, close it, because 18 is the length of one parallel base, and the one that's parallel to it, the length of that's 13. Close your parentheses. Now, put your h, or multiply it by your h on the outside. What is your h, or your height? Well, like before, it's a dashed line, and usually it's that way, not always, but whatever's not the same direction as your bases, okay? Whatever's up straight up and down connecting those, and that's 8 centimeters. And so for h, I'm going to write in 8. Now remember order of operations. Even though my 1/2 comes first, that's just being multiplied. And I have parentheses. And so I satisfy whatever's in the parentheses before I do anything. Keep my 1/2. Okay, what's 13 plus 18? 13 plus 18. 8 plus 3 is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2, but from the one that's carried is 3. So 31. 13 plus 18 is 31. Okay? And then I still have an 8 over here to the side. So what does A equal? What is 1/2 times 31? Or you can look at it if you prefer, I do. What is 31 divided by 2? Because it's exactly the same thing. It's the reciprocal, and that's why that works. Well, 30 divided by 2, and you can do this on your calculator. I just like doing that in our heads because it's more fun that way. But 30, go down 1. 30 divided by 2 is 15, so it's at least going to be that much. And then half of one more whole number. So what would that be? 30 divided by 2 is 15, but then I have 1 as a remainder left, and then a 2 as a denominator. So 1 over 2, or 1/2, how do I express that as a decimal? 15.5. Or 15 1/2, if you want it that way. And then I still have to multiply that by 8. And we could do that in our heads. We're not going to. We're just going to save the time, and we're going to punch it into our handy-dandy man-made calculators. We'll save our God-given ones for later, all that energy. Okay, so 15.5 times 8 equals 124. 124. So the area of that trapezoid is 124. Again, it's centimeters, centimeters. But since we're measuring not around, but all those little squares, all those little areas inside, that's centimeters squared. Because every shape of which you're finding the area will always be your answer in units squared. So, that's it, guys. I know that's a sorry excuse for a lesson, but that's all we've been given to learn in this lesson. So, I will say you might have on your homework, and just a heads up on that, okay, on your homework. And by the way, with it being the second class period, I might go ahead and mention that to you, or I'm sorry, the second section, that quiz 1 is officially assigned today on this Wednesday. So quiz 1 is assigned, but keep a heads up on your homework you might have where you have to figure, like part of a triangle on the inside, figure a trapezoid, the area of both, and it might ask you just what's a shaded area of a trapezoid, but a triangle is a cutout in it. And if that's the case, you'd have to figure the trapezoid, figure the area of the triangle, and then subtract the area of the triangle from the area of the trapezoid. So there might be a few challenging things like that, but as far as the basics though, this right here is it. And be sure to look in your books and use those more for any other helps that you might need. And don't forget, you're also welcome to copy down from your books any important information you think that might be helpful for your quizzes and for your tests. Okay guys, I will see you tomorrow for our last math class of the week.